right, let's make sure that we are live. I'm going to skip out to my business page and make sure that we're live. StreamYard says we're live, but you never know. Technology. Leah, it's coming. Okay, I think we're live. Yay, technology. Okay, we are live. Hi, everybody. My name is Heather Morrison, and I'm with Bold Beyond Belief, and I am so thrilled today to introduce you to someone I met actually in a coaching program, and we're both coaches, which just goes to show you that coaches need coaches. Everybody can benefit. So I wanted to introduce her to you. Her name is Lori Shin. Let me pull up our little bio here. I feel like this is a good reflection of my life. I've got 14 windows open. I never know where I'm going. It's in here somewhere. Hold on. Give me just a sec. All right. Lori Shin loves creativity, and she helps entrepreneurs and creatives find their hidden gifts so they can get their message out into the world. She's creative, down to earth, respectful, a relationship builder, and she's doing what she can to make a positive difference with group coaching, one-on-one coaching, and soon online offerings. So thank you so much for joining us today, Miss Lori. And Ace, there's a little cat down there somewhere who will join us.
I can, yeah, you can see in my lap, there he is. This is Ace, who is very insistent and persistent, and he knows no boundaries. So this is where he'll live probably until he decides not to be there. But thank you so much, Heather. It's so good to be here. And thank you so much. I feel really honored to be with you and with your listeners.
You as well. You as well. And I love that this is a silver lining of us working from home is that we get to do it with our cats in our lap. So yeah, the good within the bad. So I wanted to dive right in, and I wanted to ask you, tell us a little bit about the story or the journey of how your company came to be.
Well, I'd have to go back pretty far. I grew up in the 60s and 70s. So I was influenced by all that was going on then. Music, we had the Vietnam War. I was a real little kid. And I also had a mother who had to raise me pretty much on her own. My father became absent, and he did appear later in my life, but my mother was bipolar. So I had a fairly dysfunctional family. My brothers were pretty stable. They're older. And what had happened is that I would, instead of getting dolls and board games, I would get art supplies. And for me, creativity was the safe place. It was my safe place. So anytime I needed a safe place, that's where I would go. I would go in my imagination. I would draw. I would read. That was the place where I could live. And I also had an interest in psychology at a really early age. I would buy Psychology Today and read it. And I'd also look at things like typefaces. And they'd have crazy typefaces where I'd look and it made me feel a certain way. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. I want to know more. So as an adult, I went to some personal development training, and that was kind of it for me. It was, I am schooled in graphic design, and I've been a graphic designer for many, many, many years, as well as an artist and an illustrator. But I really loved creativity and motivation and inspiration, and really what the personal development training was for me was a door that opened to transformation. So how do we transform our lives through mindset, through motivation, and through movement too, because movement also is a part of what I believe is important in embodying your creativity. He is a fidget face now. So it's very, you never know what you're going to get with me and Ace. And then Bodhi will not, he's my other cat. He won't sit on my lap or anything like that. He does not do that. But
Well, Ace probably won't let him sit on your lap, will he?
yeah. So, but yeah, at a low point in my life, I'm divorced. And after 6 months, I lost a pretty coveted job with a university. I had moved to a new state. I didn't know a whole lot of people. And I sought some therapy for that. And I also started tuning into internet radio. And I guess that was kind of, it was starting to really get big at that time. And I tuned into Hay House Radio, which had, its share of card readers and angel readers, which is fine, and intuitives and empaths. And, I know that I'm an empath also, but what really, since I kind of am a practical person, the coaching really resonated with me. And this one woman resonated with me because she grew up in South Florida. So did I. She was Jewish. So was I. She had come from a dysfunctional family of divorced parents. So it was kind of, and the thing of it was she had so much clarity in how she coached people. And I said, she's the person I want to be coached. I want to go into her coaching program. So I ended up going into Debbie Ford's coaching program, and she's the author, or she was the author of Dark Side of the Light Chasers. And she was a wonderful mentor. And from her work, I learned a lot about what Carl Jung coined was the shadow.
And so how did that bring you into actually developing a company and wanting to help others through their journey as well?
Oh, yes. It's just, I felt like if we can all be self-expressed in a healthy way, we can move mountains, literally and figuratively. We can have the life of our dreams. And I think that people shelve their dreams. I've heard family members say, oh, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. And I don't want to leave this planet with regret. And I want people to not leave this planet with regret. It's just really important to me. This is the one thing I really do feel like I'm here for, is to support people in being self-expressed in the most healthy way possible and living the life that they've always wanted to.
I heard a quote once when a gal said she wanted to die empty. That was her goal in life, to die empty. And I thought that's an odd desire. And then I realized what she meant, right? She wanted to live full out and die having done everything that she ever wanted to do in her life. And I thought, oh, okay, now I get it. Right. And I think that there's so many people that die with that song still left in their heart. So I know that you're an artist as well. And the name of your business is I Draw on Stuff. Isn't that right?
Lori draws on things, but that's just a part of it. I created a coloring book calendar last year or 2 years ago. Wasn't a big seller, but it was an official book. It had an ISBN number and everything. But the one thing I keep coming back to that I do every single day, and I'm going to recommend this to everyone who wants to explore their creativity, is having a daily practice. And I do the morning pages that Julia Cameron from The Artist's Way has. And, it's kind of like a lot of times you want to just get rid of stuff. I mean, out of your head and onto the paper, or you want to rant and rave. So it's rage on the page sometimes. And sometimes it's just about the things I need to do or want to do, or it's just about gratitude. But it's 3 pages longhand. You don't do this on the computer. And it just really sets my day. I can't not do that. So, yeah.
I love that, rage on the page. I love that. And so the reason I bring up the Lori draws on stuff is because I'm wondering how much of that you're such a beautiful blend of the psychology part and the artistic part. So do you use any of that artistic practice with your psychology practice or your coaching practice?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's so, because I really believe, since I am pretty practical, I love research. I'm kind of a nerd that way. I read a lot. I do research-based things with my clients that are going to hone in on more creativity in their lives. I actually just got a book and some cards that are real fun, and it's from a book by this guy here. It's a scholarly book, so it's not like you're going to want to, everybody going to get it and stuff, but it is called Zigzag by Keith
Oh,
Sawyer. And he also has some creativity cards. And I played with one guest that you just had recently, Brenda Bryan.
yeah, Brenda Bryan. Yep.
So I asked her to come on by. She's kind of one of the people that I can consider in my bubble-ish area, and she doesn't live very far. And we went through some of the cards to kind of just spur some ideas, because even us coaches, we get stuck. We need us coaches need coaches, as
Yep.
well as cats, of course.
Yeah. I think animals make the best coaches, right? They don't talk back. They listen to everything you say. Awesome, awesome.
Except
Oh,
for
good.
him.
Well, I'm glad that you. Yeah.
I
So,
say,
what
yeah.
are the top three tips that you can give women that are feeling stuck in their business or just in their life in general?
Those are three good things to ask, and that's a good question. Number one here, identify your big dream or vision, because if you're
Mm,
stuck, you're maybe suppressing that thing, and it could be that you need to this is what I recommend: take out a piece of paper, write down in full detail, in all its glorious descriptions, what your vision is, what you'd like your life to look for and at, and what you want to make it happen. Just make your vision yours, not anybody else's, because
mm,
people are going to lay stuff on you, and parents do, spouses do, or you may have a story about that, because I sure did, about my spouse, or ex-spouse now, as far as being a good wife. And
mm.
it's really important for you to make this vision yours and not anybody else's. Write it down. Really, really also feel into that. Just feel what it would feel like to be having that life that you've always dreamed of. Maybe it's something that you want to do, like traveling the world, or maybe it's something as simple as it's not that simple really, starting a nonprofit, or starting a movement that really vibes with people that will be of great support to you. Number
Mhm,
two,
mhm,
it would be identify what is keeping you from that stuck place. So
mm.
you and I were talking earlier, and one of the things is fear, and one of the other thing is resistance. I mean, they're hand in hand, or paw, hand in paw here. But yeah, resistance is the killer of dreams. Um, and until you break through that resistance, and also creating a new mindset or a new place where you can ground and anchor, you're going to continue to stay stuck. I mean, you also may be wanting that attention of being stuck. I know people who love being victims.
Uh, yep.
So
Yep.
really, if you need more time to play, or if you have a dead end job, or a relationship that needs to go south?
Mhm.
Or is it a situation where you need to take a risk? What do you need to release in order to
Mm,
break through that resistance? And then number 3 is
mm.
get support. Get support. Have a support system. And I'm going to tell you, I did a workshop in 2013. It was a great workshop. One of the facilitators was Alanis Morissette, and the singer. And
Yeah.
she said, create your support system and your true support system as big as you can. Because these people who have your back are going to make a big difference in your whole life. So,
Mhm.
sometimes support doesn't look like a coach. Sometimes it looks like
Mhm.
a counselor or a therapist. Sometimes
Mhm.
that stuck place may be because of grief or because of depression. And counseling and therapy may be the answer. So just know that coaching is a very proactive way of opening that door to being unstuck. And a good coach
Mhm.
will give you some accountability, and it's going to be built into their work. And they'll also give you resources to help you move towards where you want to go.
Mhm. Mhm. I love these. And I love the reason I always ask for 3 tips is just because I love it's not a project, right? I mean, those 3 tips are very easy. They're very doable. They're little snippets, but I want to go back to each one of those individually and expand on a little bit of those because I love that you said in the beginning that to identify your dream or vision, and I should have capitalized your, right, in all caps, because I think that especially as women, we're really good at looking at what we should be offering up to everybody else, right? We're the caretakers. I think we're just natural born caretakers. And especially in the role of mother or wife, um, I just think that we tend to give it all away. And we think about ourselves dead last on our priority list all the time. I will lose the weight once. My kids are gone. I find a new spouse. I get rid of the old spouse, right? It's always on hold until someone else's life is completed, and then whatever's left over for you. So I love that you said identify your dream or vision. And then I also think that when we're going through this exercise, I think it's important to remember that we need to focus on the why, like why do we want this, what the vision is, and let go of the how for a moment, like suspend that how question. Because I think that when we are going through and coming up with our big dream or vision, we think, oh, that's silly, that'll never happen. Oh, that's silly, I could never travel the world. Oh, that's silly. And I just really encourage people that when you're going through this exercise to just suspend that question. Just like the how is none of your business. Don't worry about the how right now. Just put that dream out there. So I love that you really start with that because I think that's really important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, people tend to believe other people because they think I'm not creative, or creativity is subjective, or creativity can't make me money, or what my dream or my life or my passion is can't can't. And
Mhm.
can't can be changed to can if you kick the T out of there. So it's just a matter of what do you want, and are you committed? Are you
Mm,
hugely committed? Because commitment takes courage. It's
mhm,
scary.
mhm,
I mean, I moved here after after living 15, almost 16 years in Colorado. And yeah, it's scary. And
mhm,
I still have to use a GPS to get around, although I don't need it for basic things, but what are you willing to risk? Because I can't remember if it was Joseph Campbell or if it was somebody else who said you've got to leave one of parts of your life to let the other in, or I'm paraphrasing that, of course,
mhm,
but
mhm, mhm.
you have to let go of the fear and the resistance. So, and you got to know your why. You've got to be so passionate that your why makes you cry sometimes.
Oh, I love that. I love quotes. I'm the quote queen, so I got to write that down. Your why makes you cry. That's a good one. And I love the quote that you said was that resistance is the killer of dreams.
And I don't know if I said it or if I read that in Stephen Pressfield's book, which I have another, here's another resource for your listeners too, because The War of Art is
One of
is
my
a great
favorites.
book. It's a great book, and it's dog-eared by this time, because really resistance is I think that's what he says, is the killer of dreams. And really also it takes movement. It takes forward movement to get to where you need to go. I know that I could just sit here with my cat on my lap and I won't be creating any dreams because I'm not helping people create theirs. So that's just really, it's really about movement too. And I also believe for us as women, especially, we need to embody our creativity. I really feel like meditation is one of those ways, but also being able to move, if you are able, that is. I mean, some people can't do that. Bye, Ace. Some people can't move as well. But what you can do is, I studied for a year with a student of Gabrielle Roth's, who was, again, she's passed, but she was the urban shaman, and she taught a practice called Sweat Your Prayers, or the 5 rhythms practice. And the 5 rhythms are flowing, staccato, chaos, lyrical, and stillness. And that is supposed to represent the life cycle of a human. And so those things, I did study that intensely for a year with one of her very first students. And I've also created an embodiment dance practice too. Hopefully I'll be able to do that online sometime soon, but I want to make sure I am ethical and I pay for the music and the licensing, because I can't stream it on social media because there's a lot of things you have to do, a lot of things. So, but I will be able to do like one-off things like that. But really, we have to embody all of who we are in order to be who we came to be in this world.
And I love the third tip about getting support, because again, I think as women we tend to, and men do this to themselves as well, we tend to think we should be able to do it all by ourselves, and to reach out to a group of people is a sign of weakness, right? I don't want to bother people with my problems. I don't want to admit that I have a problem. I don't want to admit that I need support. And there's a reason why that saying, "It takes a village," came to be, because it does take a village, and we can't do this by ourselves. And we're so much stronger together, right? That rising tide lifts all ships. And there's something that I don't know that you can offer, and there's something that you don't know that I can offer. And so together, I think when we have that safety net, there's no downside to having that safety net when you reach out and say, "Listen, I need help. I don't know what I'm doing here." And even if that's, in this time, a Facebook group, right? Or a group of, even if it's just a phone call to people, or whatever that support looks like for you. I love that you brought that up, and that was one of your points, is that to get support, because I think that's a really crucial piece.
I think it's important for everybody to get support, because right now we're going through a challenging time. We have never gone through this before in my lifetime, and hopefully we'll never go through it again, but we're not out of the woods. So having support for not only your dreams, but just everyday support. He's a monster sometimes. Having that support's really, really important. And when Alana said that to our group, I felt really like that's the one thing that I need to also create. I not only do I want to be a support, I want to create support for myself and because I I don't have too much family left. And some of the family that I did have was very, very supportive. But sometimes our family isn't supportive. Sometimes our family kind of puts a damper on our dreams, and it's time for us to find those people. And I think I put, in my 8 steps that I have, one of the things is find the helpers. Find those helpers that you can find in order to make things happen for your well-being, your best life. Support is huge. It's huge.
I love that. And I love the idea of finding the right support, because I think like there's certain things that I need support in that I don't go to my husband for, or I don't go to my mom for, because they are not at the same stage that I'm at, or going through the same experience that I'm going through. So I look for, like you said, the helpers that are experiencing or have experienced what I'm going through, so they can shed light on it. Because sometimes if I talk to my husband about something, he'll look at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about, right? And that doesn't mean that he's not supportive. It's just that he can't be that support for me in that situation. So I think it's really important to look for the helpers in the right situation and the right group. So, and they're out there. There's so many groups, and there's so much support out there for people if they're willing to reach out for it. So thank you for highlighting that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is one big dream or goal that having your own business helped you to fulfill?
It's really to see the transformation happen and evolve with people. As a coach, I don't tell people what to do, because that's not I have a business coach, and so do you. And I get to be told what to do then, because if I do that, then I will have more of that. But as a coach, what I do is I lay the groundwork and the foundation for people to discover what they need to do for themselves. And yes, I can lead them to that path, but it's really important that people discover what they need to do to transform themselves. And maybe I didn't say that in the best way, because I really believe transformation is what drives me, and it's a big dream of mine to. I'm a pretty low key person. I'm one of those people who can be an introvert or an extrovert, but this pandemic thing, I've been in my home most of the time, except to do grocery shopping and whatnot, but doctor's appointments, things like that. But for me, it's not about being. I can play big, because I don't mind being on stage. I don't mind dancing in front of people. I don't mind singing. I've done singing. I mean, I write. I've co-authored a book. But I don't, for me, my dream is to see this world transform, to see people evolve. And I don't know what else would give me more satisfaction than that, besides my cat trying to not strangle me with the microphone. So
you're purring. What a little love bug. I love that. And there's a great quote, and I can't remember who said it, but it was something along the line, and I'm paraphrasing as well, along the lines of never underestimate the power of one person to start a movement, for that's all that ever has, or that's all that's ever worked, or basically it starts with one person, right? Yeah. And so I love that you're being the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, I just feel like, if you light a candle, the candle's not diminished if another person lights their candle from your candle.
Yes.
So it's and what we need to do is more light, because a lot of people, when they think, we talk about the golden shadow or the light shadow versus the dark shadow. And one thing about the light shadow is, we're, like Marianne Williamson said, we're more afraid of our light than our dark. And
Mm.
what if we all got lit up like a roaring fire and we created this world to be a better place? You know, I feel like more people, what I think for me, and this is personal, I think that the lack of love causes so much difficulty in this world. What if we had a roaring fire of love going out
Mm.
to this world and be who we came to be in order to make this world a better place? Because
Mhm.
this world is it's a pretty important thing to us because
Mhm.
we're not gonna be jetting out to Mars anytime soon that I know of, and I don't think I'm gonna be trusting that the Space Force is gonna get me anywhere. I don't have one of those things that they had in Star Trek where that said "beam me up." So it's really important for me to at least make an impact on the scale that I am able. Now, if
Mhm.
I can create an impact in a bigger way, I'm open to it. I just ask for the divine to use me to do that.
Mhm. 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 And one of the things that I notice a big theme in all of your work is self-expression. Right. So
Absolutely.
it seems like that's one of your core values has to be self-expression. And I love again going back to that idea that you marry the psychology along with the artistic side of things. I love that. I love that. So before we went online, we talked about shadow work. And you had just mentioned that just briefly. Can you tell me a little bit about what shadow work? Because I don't think a lot of people have heard that before.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Shadow work is something I do with other people and myself. It's it's whatever we suppress, deny, or repress. It comes bearing gifts, actually. So if if you are saying I could never be like Oprah Winfrey, yeah, you can, because if you can point a finger at something, there are three fingers pointing back at you, and that's the old Buddhist trick. We are all of what we can see. It's a very holographic world, and anything
Mm,
that's out there exists within. So,
mm,
you know, the drop of water in the ocean is a part of that ocean. So, the dark shadow is also something we have to explore. I, as my dark shadow, never wanted to be like my mother. My mother, she was bipolar, and I'm not bipolar. I'm
mhm,
probably unscathed by anything but quirkiness, but and cats. But the one thing that I noticed as far as for me, I just realized my dark shadow was my mother, and I couldn't be like her.
mm,
But she was an artist. She was a musician. I sang and I do art. She was a writer, and I do that. So, you know, when Debbie Ford said to me, I said to her, I didn't want to be like a bohemian. She said, "No, it's like you just don't want to be like your mother."
mm,
It's like,
mhm,
oh yeah. So I had to own that. And
mhm,
once I owned that, actually things started explode. They exploded for me. I started,
mhm.
you know, I started seeing more clients. I had uh, art on exhibit in places. Yeah, so it's about revealing the thing that you least want people to know about you. And what if it
Oh,
actually comes bearing a gift that you can only transform it? It's
mhm.
a powerful thing. So
I love
so
that.
yeah,
I love the idea that I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead.
I love the idea that instead of just shutting things off, right, just shutting our thought down to I don't want that in my life. I don't like that, so I'm not going to explore it. To actually shine a light on it and say, well, why don't I like it? Let's talk about a little bit why I don't like it. Why does that make me uncomfortable? And because, like you said, so often that could bring us a gift. Oh, okay, I didn't like it because of this, but really that's something that I want to embrace. But I didn't like it because it was associated with that particular person in my life or that particular event in my life. So I love it. And I love the psychology of, and that's what you started off with talking about, you know, the mind is such a fascinating, layered, interesting place. And which is one of the reasons I love working with a coach, is because they can really point out the blind spots, right? They're called blind spots because you can't see them. So a coach can really explore that. And one of the things that you said is that people can be stuck in their victim, right? They don't want to be a victor. They want to be a victim. And so I think the benefit of working with someone else is that they don't, like you said, the accountability piece, right? They don't allow you to stay stuck there, because if you had figured it out on your own, you would have figured it out on your own, right? So I love the idea that a coach really, especially in your practice, really is able to come along and help you shine a light on the thing that may be your biggest gift of all that you've been repressing. So I love that. I'm going to check this out. You have given me so many. I'm like a big quote person and a big book person, and
Oh, good.
I love checking out people. So I'm really excited to check all this stuff out. So thank you for that. So if you could go back and give your 25-year-old self a little piece of advice, what is something that you'd share with your 25-year-old self?
Oh, I would tell her, Lori, don't sweat the small stuff. It's just not worth it, because in a week or two, nobody else will remember it. And to do a lot more of forgiving and less judgment. Because I remember a quote that was on one of Brene Brown's podcasts, and it was her guest, and I can't even remember who it was, but she said, the person said, judgment demands punishment. And I have thought of that and wrote that down, because really, if you judge yourself or you judge others, you're pretty much condemning them for something. And, you know, as ugly as the ugliest person we can think of, and the most horrific person we can think of, there is a part of us that could do or be or have been like that person. And it's hard for us to digest that, but it is just the human condition. And yeah, it's really something that we all have to grapple with. I mean, my father, once I did have my father back in my life, he was a narcissist. First off, so narcissism is a difficult kind of thing to deal with. So we could talk about certain things, like we could talk about health and wellness. He died at a very ripe old age of 98. And so there were things that I would actually take off the table as boundaries, because he would want to say things, and I said, I'm sorry, you can't say that to me. And boundaries are another thing that coaches get to teach people, because boundaries are really helpful, and they help you contain your own safety. And whether it's just really important. This guy, he does not understand boundaries. But you as a person know when somebody has exceeded your boundaries. You can feel it in your body. And that's, again, what I really want people to know, that their body gives them so much wisdom. And if we can take that wisdom into ourselves and really kind of analyze it, we can find out what's true for us. Our body doesn't lie to us.
So, well, I love that you said, excuse me. I love that you said to not sweat the small stuff, because the more people I talk to, the more people, that's their number one thing, is to not sweat the small stuff, because looking back, it didn't make a difference anyways, right? And I think a lot of times in life, our anticipation of an event or our anticipation of the outcome of that event is far worse than the actual event itself, right? We make up these outcomes all the time. And they're based on nothing, right? We don't pick up a phone and call a client because we know exactly what they're going to say to us. So we're just not going to even go there in the first place, right? Or we don't develop a program, or we don't talk to a spouse, or we don't have that conversation, that difficult conversation with a child or a parent because, well, I'm going to say this and then they're going to say that and then I'm going to say this and there's no one in the room with you but you and your imagination, right? So I think that a lot of times the fear that we put ourselves through and the agony that we put ourselves through is far worse than the actual event if we just go ahead and have it and have that experience and not have failure but feedback from that experience. That's so much better than just staying stuck in your own head. So I'm really glad that you brought that out as number one, is not to sweat the small stuff, right?
Oh yeah, we can make up stories. We are meaning making machines, as so many of those gurus say. We are. We can make up stuff. So why, I had a minister who when I lived in Arizona, and she said that she had a degree in MSU, making stuff up. So where a lot of people did. And so, yeah, so what if we make up good stuff? And it's also, that's all about reframing. And we all, as coaches, know that reframing can help us to navigate the stormy times. I mean, I looked at 2020 as we leave it somewhere on the road. As 2020 vision is about clarity. And then for me, it was about clarity. I needed more clarity in my life. And because I'm getting coached, I'm getting more clarity in what I want to offer other people. And I think people themselves, like Debbie Ford, when I was listening to her on the radio years and years and years ago, she offered clarity. And I said, I want to be that clear. So I think part of my self-expression is getting that clarity out. I think another thing for my dream would be probably to write a book. And it may be a weird, quirky book too, because I'm kind of a nerdy, weird person. So, quirky person. So it's about expressing those things that are a little bit offbeat, that kind of make me say, oh, I think you're one of my tribe.
Yeah, and letting go of the outcome. That's part of my mindset manifesto, is to just let go of the outcome, right? Put it out there, express yourself, write that quirky book, and if 10 people buy it, that's fantastic. If 10 million people buy it, that's fantastic. But just to let go of the outcome, because in the process, you're allowing yourself to be what you're supposed to be, what you're here for. So I can't wait. I can't wait to read your book, Miss Lori.
We'll see. Well, I like I say, I write every day. So I do have a few places to write. And and I'll probably just start writing with blogs once my website is complete. So Perfect. It is actually in process now.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it's, and I need support. So I went ahead and I'm getting support, and, I can do all the things, but it'll take me like 100 years longer. And I don't think I have that much time. I'm on the other side of I'm on the closer to the end than I am to the beginning, but each day is a new beginning. So, and anytime I have these guys, they remind me to stay in the present.
Yep. Stay focused. Well, it's good. You're working on dying empty, right?
That's right.
I love that. So what's been the biggest challenge about building your business?
It's, let's see. What do I think that is? It's two things, I think. And one thing is just to let people know how I can support them. And this is one way here, is for them to hear that I could say I'm a creative life catalyst, and people are like, huh? And that's okay. I mean, it's a real honor for me to be able to talk with you here today, and I really appreciate it. And I'm one of those full spectrum creatives. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
can be very unfocused. So I have
Mm.
learned that I need to be more focused. And actually sometimes I have to compartmentalize things that are going on in my life, unless
Mm.
it's him, and he kind of is a very demanding cat guy. But yeah, but it's really where our energy goes, where we focus. Energy
Mm-hmm.
flows where energy goes. So
Yep.
many other gurus have said that too. So, you know, if I'm not a huge, big influencer, because sometimes I just don't want to be on social media. And last year, it was not even safe for me to be on social media because
Mm.
there was a lot of weirdness going on. But I have had to stand up for my life, be brave, be strong, and be out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
really important for me to just stay focused, feel safe, and help people feel safe instead of hiding, because it
Mm.
takes resilience and it takes courage and self-care. So if any women are out there looking to do anything in their life, they need to have that resilience. They need to have that courage, and they need to be really caring for themselves, because
Mm.
they're so used to caring for other people,
Yep.
just
Yep.
like you
Yeah,
had
I talk
said.
about that. I talk about that a lot with the working from overflow, not overwhelm. And so the model of
Love
that
that.
is to, yeah, to kind of fill your own cup, right? To fill your teacup. If you can think of a teacup, and when you're filling it up, the overflow that comes off of that teacup, that's what everybody else gets. That's where you should be giving, is from that overflow, not the overwhelm, because we drain that teacup giving to our spouse, and then we drain that teacup giving to our family, and we drain that teacup giving to society, and then we look in the teacup and there's nothing left for ourselves. So then all the work that we do from there is from overwhelm, or from overwhelm, not overflow. So if we can kind of flip that and think, okay, I need to fill myself up first, and whatever's flowing out of the top of that teacup, that's what everybody else gets. And everybody else will be so much happier getting that than they will be getting that frantic, what do you need? I don't have time for this. Blah, right? That attitude and that frenetic energy that we put off when we're working from overwhelm. So I love what you said in the very beginning of when I asked you what the challenge of your business is kind of going back to that. When you hide, you can't help, right? And I think that, again, being an entrepreneur and being a female entrepreneur, it's difficult to put yourself out there, because we also have to make the connection that this is a business, right? But because it's such a heart-centered business, sometimes it's difficult to get out there and ask for that and say, look, here I am. I'm here to help you. So to that end, I would love to let our listeners know how they can work with you and where they can find you. And do you have anything you want to share with our audience today? We'd love to have all the goodies.
Okay, yeah, I have goodies. I do. I'm
Yeah.
going to actually give you, I'm going to send you in the chat um, a URL that you can go to so you can grab your Ignite Creativity PDF, and it'll give you some steps into how you can get more creative and how you can do those things that maybe you've just been putting off. One of those things is on that PDF is maybe you've started a project, but you've just kind of put it in storage and stuff. So it's time to take it out, because that little thing that you've put into storage is kind of like a leech holding on to you. It's just kind of sucking a little bit of energy, whether you know it or not. Maybe it's time to create a declutter day. And that's not on there, but these are some of the things that I think are really important. The other thing that I will have once it's out of post-production is a meditation on creativity. And I will also put that in that area. This link that I gave to you, you'll be signing up for events or anything that I'm going to be offering. I'm not going to sell your name. I promise. I don't believe in that. I get enough spam myself. And what I'll do is I will send you a link for, this is old, this is really old school, because I am having the person who is going to support me do the things, so it's going to be more automated. It's come next year. And I will have that MP3 for you very soon, hopefully by the end of the week, so you can look for it there. But when I get it into my area where you can download it, do and listen to it. Do not use it while you're driving. Because it is kind of a meditation, and it's just a way of visualizing where you want to be. And it's about creativity and safety, because really the first thing is people have to know that they are safe in expressing themselves. And from there, they can jump off and be all of who they can be.
I love that. I love that you use the word safe, because I think that one of the reasons we don't express ourselves is because we fear that we're going to be judged, and not only judged by society or friends or whoever, but we're also judging ourselves, because we are huge critics of ourselves, right? And so going back to that voice of when you put your big dream out there, and the other, the other voice in your head says, oh, that's stupid, you'll never get there. Oh, that's dumb, you'll not, who are you to think that you could have that kind of dream? So I love that you use that word safe. Because once we create that space of safety, it just allows things to flow. So I will take all of your stuff, the chats, and I'll get all that information for you guys from Lori. And what I'll do is I'll put it down below this video on the Facebook, so people just click and go right there. So that would be a great way for them to connect with you. So
sure. I will also add my email. This is one email that I don't use very often, so I'll know it's from you. From people here.
Okay.
And I'm just adding it to the chat here.
And I'll pull all this out and I'll combine it all in one space, and we will get people in contact with you. And this is such a great space, you guys. This is such a great time of year to be thinking about this. And I love that you have you talked about a declutter day. There's something called, and I don't remember how to pronounce the word, mnemonic, I think. There's 9 layers, there's 9 environments for you to declutter in your life. And I think that people don't really consider how much of their clutter around them, whether that's mental clutter or physical clutter, really prevents them from going forward. So I'm really excited that you have a declutter day. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I've been a clutter bug forever until I had to move into half the size of where I used to live. And I used to have a 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath condo. And then I had to downsize and put stuff in storage. And then, you know what? I didn't need all that stuff. I was just so, and I had really good stuff too. I mean, I had really, I gave away like really beautiful dishes and cookware and casserole dishes and yeah. So it was like, do I really need that? No. Mm-hmm. So and yeah, a lot of paper and it was so freeing. I did the Marie Kondo thing.
Yep.
But yeah, and it's a powerful thing. And you know what? I also had a real magical thing happen to my email. I had so many emails. It was horrible. I don't know how many, tens of thousands of emails. And then one day my email was just kind of wacky, and I had to call Apple. And, I know all the things to do. And they said, yeah, you're just going to have to delete that account and call it back. And I was like, okay. So I have maybe less than 1,000 right now, and I'm going to go through it and just delete what I don't need. But yeah, you know what?
Yep.
you can free your life by decluttering. And
Yeah.
and yeah, hit me up for some more resources, because there's somebody else who's going to do something that just for emails and decluttering. Somebody told me they
Yeah.
had like over 40,000, and I thought, oh, okay.
Well, and that's just taking up mental real estate, right? In your brain. That just takes up that mental real estate. Even if you don't see it every day, you know it's there and you think about that. And that to me, so I did a big, huge declutter in July. We brought in a huge dumpster onto our property. It was one of those roll-off ones. And we got rid of so much junk out of the barn and around the property. And I can't tell you, every time I walk into the house now, I think, oh, because before when I was walking in the house and I'd see clutter, that self-hatred loop would go off in my head, right? When are you going to get rid of this? You always say you want to get rid of it. You're never going to get rid of it. When are you going to make time to do that? Everybody else can make time to do that, right? And that's what we do to ourselves. So that getting rid of that. And I will tell you that going through that exercise has really reformed my shopping habits, because now before something goes in my cart, I look at it and I think, in 6 months, do I want to dump it, dust it, or donate it? And if I don't, I'm not buying it, right? It really, and it's the same thing. It's an interesting exercise, because I also think about that when I sign up to someone's email list, right? Am I gonna, what's the value? So it really makes you put up a filter in your life of everything. Now that I've cleared out my space, I'm really protective on what I let back in, right? So I love that. I love that you included that. That's really,
I love
really
that
important.
too. That's amazing. I love that. Say that again, the 3 Ds.
Oh, do I want to dust it, donate it, or dump it?
I love it. That's yeah. I did a lot of donating and just giving away stuff. I mean, yeah, it's powerful stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
good.
I would just
Well,
want to
thank you
leave.
so much.
Yeah,
Yes,
I want
please
to
do.
leave with you, with your viewers, to just say that I just wish that for each and every one of you, that you can know that you're creative, because your life just reflects your creativity. And what if you created your life by design and not default? I
Mm.
would love to be supporting you in that. And I know that Heather would love to support you too. So my wish for you is that you get big, get bold, and be beyond belief, because you deserve it. You matter. What you have in this world is a big gift, and somebody may be waiting to hear it, see it, and be it. So do that. And yeah, so, and great. I'm so grateful for you, Heather. Thanks so much. I learned a lot from you, and yeah, and thanks so much for allowing me to be here today, and Ace.
Absolutely, Laura. And I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and for just allowing people to hold that safe space that they are just by birthright. They are worthy, and they need to just get out there and express themselves. So I'm excited to see how you're going to help people through that journey. So
Yeah.
well, thank you guys. Thank you, Miss Lori. And hopefully everybody has a fabulous new year. Take a little time right now to reflect and set your intentions for January and beyond. And I will put all of Lori's information in the Facebook group and my business page, so that you can just click on it and get right to her and get right to the meaty good stuff. So thank you, Miss Lori, and thank you, Ace, for being here today. And we will see you all in the new year.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.